Welcome back, guys. We've got a new video for you today. Today we're going to be talking about who I think would be a good fit in the Paul Silva Motorsports number 57 car to run the rest of the season for the High Limit Racing Series Championship, or just for a top 5 position in points for a charter. Now, the reason I'm doing this video, and once again, this is hypothetical, there is no basis behind this at all. There's no facts. There's nothing pointing towards this being a thing. But it got me thinking a little bit. Kyle Larson, in a couple of interviews, has said that he is going to run nearly half of the schedule with the High Limit Sprint Car Series in 2024. I think I saw a couple times somewhere between 24 and 28 races or 26 races, just shy of halfway. There's 60 races total with High Limit throughout the entire year. Kyle Larson is definitely going to be running the entire midweek money series, but not going to be running the full 60 race campaign. Now, here's what I'm thinking is if Kyle Larson is going to run 26 races, and we know how viable and how much people want those charters at the end of the year, or in 2026 when they're first handed out, we know that there's probably going to be a lot of money involved for the car owners. Why wouldn't they want to try and find somebody, a driver, to fit into that 57 car and run the remaining, 30-ish races to try and get a top 5 position in the point standings? That got me thinking of drivers who I think would be pretty good and would be able to fit in just right. Now, one thing I want to mention, no driver on this list currently races with a winged 410 National Series. So we're not talking about David Gravel. We're not talking about Donnie Schatz. We're not going to have Tyler Courtney on this list. We're not going to have Parker Price Miller on this list. Guys that are already racing with either the Outlaws or High Limit full-time. These are drivers that are running regionally. Maybe they're running for a track championship. A couple of them may be running for a non-wing championship. But we're not talking about full-time national touring 410 wing drivers in this video. Just want to make that clear. And once again, this is a hypothetical video. I have not heard anything about this actually happening. Just thought it would be an interesting topic to cover here on the channel. So first driver we're going to talk about today is Trey Starks. Trey Starks, the driver out of Puyallup, Washington. Not too long ago, he won a prelim night at the Knoxville Nationals. He also started on the pole of the Kings Royal. He's had a lot of good runs in his career against the biggest series out there and the biggest events. He's ran a lot in the Pennsylvania area as well. He's got a lot of experience all over the country driving for a couple of different car owners. Now Trey Starks mainly runs just at Skagit Speedway, Grace Harbor Raceway up in the Pacific Northwest. Comes down very rarely to California, but I think he would jump right into this car no problem and be able to find success without issue. So Trey Starks, first driver on this list. Next driver on this list, and these are in no particular order, I want to put that out there, that Trey Starks, he could have been first on this list. There's no ranking system at all with these guys, but I've got Kerry Madsen also on this list. Kerry Madsen, 2023, was let go from the Vermeer Motorsports 55 car, which is now piloted by Chris Windham, and they'll be full-time with High Limit this season. Kerry Madsen was pretty good in his limited amount of starts in that car last year after Buddy Kofoid left the car, and Kerry got in and was pretty solid. Got a couple of wins and had a lot of good runs there along the way with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. Wasn't too long ago that Kerry Madsen nearly swept the 3 nights at the Jackson Nationals in the Tony Stewart Racing 14 car. He was very good as well in the Roth Motorsports 83. Sure, a lot of wrecks in those races with Roth, but when he didn't wreck, he did have a lot of speed. So Kerry Madsen, I think, would be a good fit in the Silva Motorsports 57 to try and keep Kyle Larson and that 57 car inside the top 5 in the point standings and get them a charter for 2026. 8th on my list, I'm sure people saw this one coming, but I've got Tanner Holmes on this list as well. Last year, obviously, Holmes filled in for Jacob Allen at the end of the World of Outlaws season, and right out of the gate, he was extremely fast, was quick time his first race at the Jackson Nationals, ended up on the podium that night, had a couple of sporadic top 10s along the way as well, but there was also some nights where he struggled a lot, got into some incidents, didn't make the show a couple of times as well. But we do know that, the Shark Racing machine doesn't always have the best equipment. I think they were kind of down on engines a little bit. They were having some trouble there. And they're not running brand new tires every single night. They don't really have a crew chief on that car either. Tanner Holmes is a big part of the crew chief decision making on the car when he was driving. So I think with a obviously a very good crew chief like Paul Silva, a winning car. I think that could be a good combination for Tanner Holmes, so I've got him on this list as well. Next on the list is our first non-wing driver that I think would be, Brady Bacon for the beginning of his career was with a wing on top, but has made his living doing the non-wing side of things. So Brady Bacon just last year got his first ever Outlaw win. That was at the Tri-State Speedway in Hopstad, Indiana. Brady Bacon has a lot of wins in wing cars, most of them in 360s, but whenever he gets in a 410 wing car, it seems like no matter what track they're at, Brady Bacon is able to be right up front. Remember, he almost won a race 2 years ago with the Outlaws at Lake Ozark Speedway and got moved out of the way by Jacob Allen late in that one. He did end up blowing a tire later in that race, but Brady Bacon, every time he shows up with a National Touring Wing 410 Series, it seems like he is very, very good. I know that's where he started racing out with the ASCS National Tour and whatnot, but it seems like he's able to pick it up very quickly, even if he's been in the non-wing stuff or a Silver Crown car or something like that. The transition is almost nothing for Brady Bacon, and I think he would be really good in the Paul Silva 57 car and be able to maintain a top 5 position in the point standings to get Paul Silva a charter for 2026. Next on this list, I've got, let's see here. You got to have Anthony Macri on the list. Anthony Macri, one of the best drivers overall in sprint car racing over the last 2 seasons, inside the top 10 if you look on sprintcarratings.com. But the one thing I will say about Macri is when he gets in a different car that is not his, he seems to struggle a little bit. We saw him not do as we thought he would do in the Clausen Marshall 7BC, filling in for Tyler Courtney. Then we saw Corey Day get in the car. He almost wins a race at Kokomo. Macri seemed to struggle a little bit when he's not in his own 39M. The other car he's actually been good in is that Chris Dyson 20 car. Most of the time that isn't a 360. But if Macri isn't in his own car, it seems like things don't really work as well for him. But I would really, really like to see him pair up with Paul Silva and be in that 57 car, because I think that guy can make just about anybody go fast in a sprint car. And Macri is all, we know he's such a great driver. And we know Kyle Larson and I feel like Anthony Macri have similar driving styles, which may transition very nicely if Anthony Macri were to go to the 57 car. Next on my list, and our final non-wing driver on this list, I've got Logan Seavey. The defending Chili Bowl Nationals champion, mostly known for all of his non-wing, his Silver Crown, and his midget career. Just last year, won 2 of 3 USAC National Divisions. Just won the Chili Bowl for the 2nd year in a row. Logan Seavey, I think, would be a no-brainer to put in this 57 car. Kyle Larson and him have a long relationship. They both grew up going to the same racetracks and racing against each other a little bit. Actually, I don't think they really raced against each other, but they raced at the same track, just in different classes. They were, obviously, the age difference is quite a bit there between Logan and Kyle Larson, but I think Logan Seavey would fit in just right. We've seen Logan make a handful of starts with the Outlaws here and there. Was very good, made the dash, I believe, with the Outlaws at Eldora, his first or second night out in the McGee Motorsports 11 car. He was filling in, I can't remember who he was filling in for. He also made the dash at Jacksonville in a Zach Daum 410 sprint car before. And Logan Seavey does have a full season of 360 racing at the Placerville Speedway in California and some mixed 410 starts. He's actually ran the Silva 57 before at the Silver Dollar Speedway for a local show. He got upside down that night, but there is a little bit of a connection already there between Paul Silva, Logan Seavey, and then with Kyle Larson as well. So if this were to happen and Logan Seavey was the driver, I would not be shocked at all. I think he deserves a Wing 410 ride at this point in his career. Had a little bit of an issue there, but we are back. So let's jump into the next driver on our list after Logan Seavey. And I've got Austin McCarl on my list here. So Austin McCarl has been primarily driving that Country Builders Construction number 88 car here over the last couple of seasons. Sat on the pole of the Knoxville Nationals here just recently in the last 2 years or so. And he's gotten some wins at Knoxville and even at some other racetracks there in the Midwest. And I feel like he's very, very consistent. We've seen him go pretty good as well out in California. So I think Austin McCarl would be a solid addition to the Silva Motorsports 57. If all of these drivers right here said they couldn't do it and Austin McCarl said he could, I would feel pretty confident that with Kyle Larson running his 26 races, and then you put Austin McCarl in for the rest of the 30-ish other races, I could see him keeping that car inside the top 5 in points and doing a pretty good job at it while that's all going on. So next driver I've got here, and this one's probably the biggest no-brainer on this entire list, and that is going to be Aaron Reitzel. So Aaron Reitzel, multi-time All-Star Circuit of Champions titleist. We've seen what he can do on the big stage. He's led laps at the Nationals. He's won a lot of races with not only the All-Stars, but with the Outlaws as well. And he's ran at so many different racetracks all across the country, and he's done a lot of traveling in his career. But at this point in time, Aaron Reitzel's trying to kind of dial it back a little bit and wants to race around home more. And so that's why the Ridge and Sun team put Corey Eliason in a separate car and kept Aaron Reitzel running for the Knoxville Championship, as well as doing a little bit of traveling here and there. Reitzel wants to be home more. You can respect that. But I feel like he would be so good in the Silva Motorsports 57. I feel like he kind of has a similar driving style to Kyle Larson, a very aggressive driving style. Reitzel is somebody that I've praised in the past as being a guy that will give you 110% effort if he's running 5th, if he's running 12th, or if he's running 21st. He's giving 110% effort on the racetrack at all times. He might not be the most liked driver out there, but I feel like you got to have that evil villain out there in sprint car racing. Reitzel plays that role very well, and he's a great driver. People can hate on him, but you cannot deny the guy can wheel a sprint car, that is for sure. Second to last driver on this list, and that's going to be Chase Randall. So Chase Randall, Paul Silva, they already have a little bit of a connection. Randall ran his car at the Gold Cup Race Champions last year at the Silver Dollar Speedway. And, you know, they had little mixed results there. They were very fast early in the night, but when it came to the feature, Chase Randall seemed to struggle a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if that was because of the car, if that's because Chase Randall, his first ever time being the Silver Dollar Speedway, and it was a pretty tough field. I'm not sure, but Chase Randall has shown that he can jump into different cars and have success. He did it in the TKS Motorsports 2 car. He did it in that number 12 car that runs at Knoxville. He's done it in his own car. He's done it as well in the 57. Obviously didn't have a good feature run, but showed that he had speed. He's been able to jump between different cars and be very good. Give him 5 races behind the wheel of the 57, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him competing for a top 10 every single night. And I think he could put together enough good finishes to keep that team in the top 5 in high limit sprint car series points. Final driver we will write down on our board here is going to be Justin Sanders. So Sanders, kind of in the same realm as Chase Randall, right? There's a little bit of history between Sanders and Silva. They've ran a couple of times together out in California. I'm not sure if it was the Works Limited car or if it was Paul Silva's 57. Either way, Sanders has been crew chief by Paul Silva before, and they've had some good results in the car. And Sanders has had good results in other people's cars as well, whether that's in California. He's had good results in the Midwest. He's had good results in the limited time he's been in Pennsylvania. In the Macri Motorsports 39, he's put the Swindell Speed Lab 39 car in the Knoxville Nationals feature, his first ever time there. He also took that car to a podium finish in his first ever time at the Lincoln Park Speedway for that very first high limit race. And Sanders has been good in the Macri car as well when he had to fill in for Anthony Macri. So I think Sanders, very underrated driver and a guy that's going to keep the tires on it. He's going to give you a respectable finish, and he's going to give good feedback to the crew chief and tell him what he's feeling and get them better and better. And I think no problem he'd be able to keep that car in the top 5 with the assistance of Kyle Larson running 26 of those high-limit Sprint Car Series races. So I've got this list here. Let me know who you think should be on the list, who you think should not be on the list. Maybe I'm doing this all wrong and you don't like any of these guys. Let me know down in the comment section below. Remember, this video is hypothetical. This is not going to happen. I just made this up for a fun video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I hope to have another upload here coming very soon to the channel. So thank you guys for the support. Crazy, we're at over 900 subscribers already. Appreciate everybody doing that, and we'll see you guys in the next one.